English, Standard 12, Unit 4, Prose, The Summit, written by Edmund continued. The last part of the lesson, conclusion. Sir Edmund Hillary has written his own experiences of his climbing on Mount Everest and his sense of fulfillment after climbing. Climbing on Mount Everest was exciting and adventurous. On May 28th, Hillary and Tenzing set out, setting up high camp at 27,900 feet. After a freezing, sleepless night, early in the morning at 4 a.m., they plodded on reaching the south summit by 9 a.m. So they started at 4 a.m. They plodded on reaching the south summit by 9 a.m. and a steep rocky step, some 40 feet high, about an hour later. Wedging himself in a crack in the face, Hillary inched himself up what was thereafter known as Hillary Step. I think at present, the Hillary Step, the rock, has been completely covered with snow and turned as hard, rocky snow. Anyhow, they reached at the Hillary Step, and Hillary threw down a rope and Norgay followed. At about 11:30 a.m., the most historical moment of their life, at about 11:30 a.m., the climbers arrived at the top of the world. They reached the top of the world, the summit of Mount Everest. There were no more ridges to climb on. So they were at the summit exactly at 11:30 a.m. Happiness, excitements, and they couldn't reveal their happiness and excitements. They shook hands and congratulated each other. Tenzing gifted to the god of lofty summit a bar of chocolate, a packet of biscuits, and a handful of lollies. Hillary placed a crucifix in a hole as his gift, which was given by Colonel Hunt. They could remain on the summit only for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, they moved down off the summit onto their steps. Wasting no time, they camped along their tracks, spurred by the urgency of diminishing oxygen. They realized the urgency of diminishing oxygen, so they started to move downwards. They scrambled cautiously over the rock traverse, moved one at a time, and finally cramponed up their steps back onto the south peak. They moved carefully, cautiously, one at a time, and they started to move downwards. They carried the extra cylinders down and reached their tent at 2 p.m. with their last look at the camp, which served them so much. They turned downwards with dragging feet and set themselves to the task of safely descending the ridge to the south pole. They started to move. They started to set themselves to the task of safely descending the ridge to the south pole. The time passed as in a dream. George Lowe and Wilfred Noyes met them just a couple of 100 feet above the camp with hot soup and emergency oxygen. Hillary said that they had to undergo a lot of difficulties while climbing, but these hard times were very less in front of their success. words of Clary. We had had enough to do the job, but by no means too much. We had had enough to do the job, but by no means too much. We crawled into the tent and with a sigh of delight, happiness, collapsed into our sleeping bags, while the tents flapped and shook under the perpetual south cold gale. Flapped, flap. Flap means swing or move. Swing or move up and down against the strong wind. The tent flapped up and down against the strong wind. And gale, gale means a very strong wind. Gale. A very strong wind. John Hunt, who led the expedition, states that it was an unforgettable day. It was an unforgettable day. They had climbed to the top. There were shouts of joy, handshakes, and hugs for the two heroes. Their happiness and pride showed how these men had shared in the achievements that was brilliantly concluded by Clary and Tenzing. The adventure was over. The adventure was over. The story of the ascent of Everest is one of the comradeship and teamwork. It was a teamwork formed through dangers and difficulties met and overcome together. Perhaps after the climbing of this great mountain, others will find their own Everest, for there are still many opportunities for adventure. Some are close at hand, others are far away in distant lands. Not all adventures are exciting, nor is adventure to be found only upon a mountain. There are Everests to be climbed in our day-to-day life. There are Everests to be climbed in our everyday life. There are difficulties, there are challenges, what we have to face in our everyday life. Given the selflessness and resolve which enabled men to climb Everest, there is no height, no depth that the spirit of man, guided by a higher spirit, cannot attain. In other words, they proved that there is nothing but hard work and persistence leads to success. There is nothing but hard work and persistence leads to success. Hard work and diligence are the two sides of the coin success. Let us realize hard work and persistence and diligence are the two sides of the coin success. Where there is a will, there is a way. So there's a proverb saying, where there is a will, there is a way. Success comes down to our attitude, effort, and focus. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage, strong willpower, and determination to pursue them. So, dear students, let us have courage and let us have strong willpower and determination to face the challenges and difficulties in our life, to attain our goal, to attain our success. Thank you for listening.